Commander Riker's emotions are rather passionate.
As in erotic?
Very much so.
They say resist is futile. That individual is out of style. It's a simulation, not a but I know less about
Hello and good evening and happy July 3rd, if that's a thing. Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 22, the finale, in fact, Shades of Grey. It's over, and it has been since July of 1989, but we're just getting started here in 2025 as we continue our mission to watch every episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, even this one, and talk all about it. We're just getting started here on Live Long and Podcast, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or you might be listening as an audio version. And we got a great panel here to break down this episode. They say time is the fire in which we burn, or maybe it's clip shows. And tonight, we dine in hell as we roast this episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. Coming in first here from our nation's capital, picturesque, with the Canadian flag in the background, it's Adam Woodward.
Dave, when you talk about time is the fire in which this episode was just long. Like I I couldn't believe how long it goes. It wasn't long, but
I had to turn it up. I had to like speed it to 1.5 speed just to get through it a little bit. So we're going to talk all about it. Coming in next here, it's the man who always volunteers for the less popular episodes. It's co-founder of Live Long and Podcast, Jaemeel Robinson.
Lend me your trash, and I will dine on its remains.
Well, all right. We got a lot of it here. It's a lot of trash. And here's the man with the critical eye, who's, even when it's a good episode, he's like, but there could have been better special effects. So we'll see how he feels about this one. He's coming in here. It's the man with the mutton chops. It's Chris, the World Mind Murphy.
I'm happy to be part of the most beautiful podcast in all of the galaxy to talk about, a few shades of gray, which I enjoy this episode. I don't know.
It figures. It tracks, Chris. So we're going to break it all down here. Spoilers, of course, if you have not seen Star Trek The Next Generation, Shades of Grey. So in this episode, Commander Riker undergoes a medical treatment by Dr. Pulaski for an alien infection, and he must relive numerous past events. It is the only clip show in the history of Star Trek, Next Generation at least, kind of fueled by the writer's strike of 1988. And also they went over budget in this season too, and Paramount held them to staying within budget. So this was also done for budgetary reasons. This is the 48th episode overall, with a story by Morris Hurley, teleplay by Richard Manning and Hans Beimler, and directed by Rob Bowman. It came out in July 17th, 1989. So, and it was apparently watched by 9.8 million people at the time, if you can believe it, because there's not much on in the summer anyway. This was the year of the writer's strike, so maybe there was even less stuff going around, maybe less soap operas, who knows. So anyway, but it's considered to be one of the worst episodes. But Chris is saying he didn't mind it. Adam's saying it was a bit of a drag for him. It is the lowest IMDb rating of any episode. Well, I don't know. Code of Honor is also thrown out there as one of the worst episodes as well.
It's rated one of the 5th worst Star Trek episodes.
Just pure Star Trek.
I don't know whether that was done, in the Discovery era, but we'll see.
Yeah. Like, this is like, and as far as season finales go, like, we were kind of complaining a little bit about the season 1 finale, but this is nothing compared to that.
Oh my God. I didn't even realize that. This is now that. Okay. Wow.
Right. Yeah. So here we are. Most seasons are 26 episodes of Star Trek Next Generation. This one is the exception at 22. This is where they cut it off. And it's the final episode also of Dr. Pulaski. It's the final episode featuring the Type A TNG uniforms, Star Trek uniforms that that they had in season 1 and season 2. These like tighter ones, that one piece, and they'll be moving to the Mandarin collar and the 2-piece variants starting season 3. So it's kind of an end of an era here in some ways too. In TNG, there's and some would say into the better era, because season 3 onward it's going to become much more character driven in each episode versus some of the more plot driven episodes we got in these first 2 seasons, which we get to relive, in all its glory here as we kind of look back now. I saw some review that said like the writers, look back on it with some even more horror once they realized that like shows like Xena and Stargate had done much better clip shows, in their series than this. Not everyone's a fan of the format or rehashing old stuff, but for me, even as far as that format goes, this is a little lacking because there's just, I don't know. It's of course it's all Riker centric because it's all based on what his memories would be. So it's not even necessarily.
I think they could have done a little more with it, though. Like, maybe because it was a writer's strike, they couldn't have done more. I just feel like all it was a clip episode and a like, there was nothing evolving for Riker. We didn't understand why he is the way he is. Like nothing.
Well, okay, like let's try to find some positives if we can, and maybe anybody. It could be we get to see how Riker faces death in this episode. He wants to go out with some.
There are some good points. I was thinking about it this morning. I do have some good things to say.
There was a couple jokes I didn't mind, and at the end there with like, I'm Captain Picard. Oh, well, the Admiral and I were worried about you, and Data doesn't know he can't be promoted by Captain Picard to Admiral. I guess it's not that funny, but Jaemeel, I want to get your take on this.
Okay.
Is this overrated, underrated, somewhere in between?
Well, even the worst Trek episode is underrated, I feel, in general. This episode, it's not a good episode. Let's be fair. It's not a good episode. But I felt like they didn't do themselves a service by kind of just skipping over a lot of the interesting pieces of what they introduced in this episode. So they're on this planet, right? And Riker's chilling. He's already been, stabbed. But anyone who came to the planet afterwards does not wear boots or any type of higher, soled shoe for protection, right?
Right.
Like, doesn't happen. I would have thought like, hey, we don't want more people having this similar situation. Doesn't come up whatsoever, right? The whole treatment seems to really jump there's no like, hey, I've been looking and maybe this is a solution. There's no debate over like I'm using this experimental type of procedure to try to negate the infection. Like there was no struggle in terms of even coming up to the solution. In a regular Star Trek episode, there would be some like we're investigating the situation and trying to figure out exactly how we're going to solve this problem. It's like, well, we have this solution. Let's try to see if it works. Oh, no, let's turn the knob this way. Turn the knob out. That's what it felt like. It felt like that. And I thought that the characters, in terms of their performance, was all there, right? But they kind of just skipped a lot of the steps in terms of how they got there. Deanna, where was her? Like she was just reacting to what Riker was feeling.
Right.
Like we should have learned more about. Yeah, we should have learned more about her and how does she feel with Riker dying, right? How does she come to grips with that? And I know because the writer strike you mentioned, they're kind of clipped at the legs at the same time.
It's the writer's strike and the fact that there was 2 episodes, Elementary Dear Data and Q Who, which ran over budget. Those 2 episodes earlier in the season. So Paramount said, you have this much money to spend for the season.
Don't come back.
Don't come back for more. So this is kind of their solution.
Bake sale outside the Paramount lot, like, come on. I feel like what I mentioned in terms of elements that they could have included wasn't costing any money, right? It's a close up. It's a monologue from Deanna. Like, it's a conversation with Pulowski. Those elements, could have been included, and this would have been a fine episode. Sure, we would have got less clips. That wouldn't necessarily been a bad thing.
I wasn't annoyed with the episode until we got to the clips as much, and I feel like the medical, like I like medical shows, like whether ER or the Pit or those kinds of things, and I feel like they could have made this more of a medical drama episode, it in the sense of like make us. It was like we're gonna stimulate his brain to be like erotic or to be angry, but like what's the science behind it is a little science fiction. I get it, but whatever. Okay, we got a few questions here. I'll start with mine. Norman asking, which one is this episode worse, or is it These Are the Voyages from Star Trek Enterprise? And I would rather watch this than These Are the Voyages from Star Trek Enterprise any day, because I've explained my problems with that episode, and it ruins the Pegasus, the Pegasus, for me. So it's it's a double whammy in that way. Adam, you have a question here from Sam. Where are you?
Oh, I'm in Ottawa on my deck.
There you go. And from Sam, Chris, when did you get a dog, and what is his name?
I got Cupcake in April. She's a good girl. When she wants to be. Yeah. She is a shade of gray.
Sam loves huskies, so he's all about it.
Who doesn't love a great husky?
Yeah.
Where's Dave? Where's our questions?
Do we have questions?
I don't know. Where's our questions?
What a sexy panel for the terrible episode, says Jody.
That's more of a statement.
It's more of a statement than a question, but
I
he's
appreciate
not
it,
wrong.
nonetheless. I
He's not
appreciate
wrong.
it.
This was during the strike, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of like the strike was a year earlier, I believe, right? But it was still kind of the effects of it were being felt here. Here's your question, Jaemeel. Are you Team Jaemeel for life? That's your question.
Sam, we had the best of times. We had the worst of times, but I still appreciate those times nonetheless. Now it seems like we're not doing Big Brother this season, but I still look back at our time fondly. Sam, be well.
Yes. One more question here, I guess, from Sam is: did Diana Muldaur decide to leave at this point? Did she know she was leaving the show? I don't think so. I will see if that comes up in the trivia, but I believe that decision was made between seasons. But I don't know. So because it doesn't feel like this is like Diana Muldaur's, the Catherine Pulaski's final. If they knew it was her final episode, I feel like they would have done something to like say, okay, that's it. But they kind of just treat this like it's any day at the office. For me, a lot of it.
They should have I'm going to stay at this planet and study this further.
Right.
Bye, crew.
Well, I guess they should tell people not to come here unless they're androids or something that won't be affected by these barbs.
But okay, well, going up on that same thing, doesn't it feel like there's like a second part missing where they go back and kind of investigate the parasite or whatever because there must be something else there possibly, right? Or
Well, we know that there are no living animals within 50 kilometers of this swamp. Why did they beam into a swamp specifically? I don't know, but they did.
Were they looking for something? It
was like a brand new planet they had never been to, so it was kind of, I think it was like
we went to Florida in the Everglades, right? Yes. And we met Florida Man. That's it. Planet Earth we're no longer going to deal with planet Earth.
Right. Well, sometimes it pays to stay at home. Norman says if they knew she was leaving, they couldn't have changed the order and left her on the genetic kids planet. Yeah, so yes, they could have done that too. Team Shades of Grey or Team Sub Rosa? I'm Team Sub Rosa.
Sub Rosa.
Nocturnal, and I will be forever.
Sub Rosa.
Sub Rosa.
Murph?
Sub Rosa is better than this, but
Murph?
this is better than These Are the Voyages.
Sub Rosa or this Shades of Grey?
I forget what Sub Rosa's about.
That's the one with Crusher and the space candle and the ghost that she's banging on the side.
Oh. Honestly, this one's better than Sub Rosa.
Oh, Space Ghost.
Team Shades of Grey, right there.
Okay, so I didn't really, voice the reasons why I like this episode.
Go ahead.
Like you said, Dave, earlier, this episode's really good up until the point when they start doing the flashbacks and sort of cheaping out on the script. Like the premise of them being on a strange planet, them being attacked, or specifically Riker being attacked by Fauna and affected with something, like there wasn't enough of that throughout the series, I found, and I enjoyed that setup, and he had to deal with it medically, and also it seemed like there was a lot of agency in Pulaski's character. There seemed like she had a lot of lines through this episode, more than previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was in this series a lot.
Yeah, she was, but it just felt like a lot of her scenes were just one-off scenes, maybe aside from the occasional episode where she might have had a bit more, but I don't know. For this one, it just felt like there was a bit more Pulaski than, other episodes. And, the cutscenes were the best hits of Riker, every girl he smooched, every tussle he's had, every, it was all of his best hits. Him flirting with, Guinan and stuff like that. So there was nothing... I never felt like it was a drag. As far as season finales go, Jodie's right. It is the worst season finale of all the series, of all the Star Treks. It's a terrible season finale. You don't have... in any show, you don't season finale a show with a clip show, of all things.
Right.
Unless all the clips are of stuff you've never seen in any of the seasons, and it's just I think Community did something like that. So did Clerks, the animated series. In the second episode, did a clip show, and it had sequences that weren't in any of the episodes as well.
Yeah.
If you're going to play it off
their
that
second
way,
episode,
their second episode was great.
Remember the first episode of the show?
Wait, well, actually, the first episode that aired was the clip show episode, I think.
Well, there you go. Yeah, okay. I don't disagree with you, Chris. I think that there's some moments I like. There's a lot of it that I felt dragged, especially the clip parts, because I was like, I've seen this all, especially recently. Because we've been doing this podcast and we've been going through these episodes. If you're a Riker fan, hey, it's not like you're not getting bad Riker moments per se. But I agree that it's lackluster. Now, next season, the end of next season is Best of Both Worlds, which will change the model for Star Trek moving forward, basically. All season finales pretty much are going to be like cliffhanger season finales or two-parters after. But this is the exception. The previous season was the neutral zone in the end of season 1, where we got that, they thought out those people from the 90s or whatever, and they were meeting up with the Romulans. At least that confrontation with the Romulans was pretty epic and pretty fun, and we got to see that Warbird, and you had Marco Limo playing the Romulan commander. There was a lot of good moments, even if you don't like those the sub story or the side story with those human refugees they find in that one as well. But this belongs in the middle of the season, probably, if you're going to have this show at all in the mix, right? So, but it was a different time.
I think it really, for me, highlights how immature the character Riker was in season 1 and 2, because it brings, to your point, all the highlights of he really matured as a character in season 3 and towards the end.
I thought it was interesting that they didn't include any of the stuff with his dad in this clip show, because that was from the Icarus factor, because there was definitely negative emotions and him fighting his dad, Embo Jitsu style and whatever, but none of that was included here.
I guess maybe that was too ambiguous of a memory, because he would look back on it more favorably than how it was presented. So they want to avoid any type of ambiguous type of story thing. You can look at this, he's scared. You can look at this, he's horny. You can look at this, he's happy. They want to make it as simple and clear cut as possible.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Okay.
He's wrestling with his dad. He's conflicted.
Why is he slightly aroused? Is what we learned.
Yeah, I don't think Troy was impressed with his arousals. None of them involved her, so.
I think in retrospective, like, yes, this episode, especially now where you're in the day and age where you can watch all the episodes back to back to back to back and everything's fresh in your mind, it's like, yeah, this episode's extra bad. But if you think about it at the time when this was released, and you're on like a weekly schedule with the show, and if you're lucky, you might catch some reruns if they air. You get to catch this episode, you get to replay all these scenes that you probably haven't watched in months.
Yeah, well,
I watched it.
Yeah.
No, not yet. I watched this live, and I can, this was like, meh. Is it like that's the problem with these 26 season episodes or 26 episode seasons? Is there's the bad episodes, and you're gonna get them. But you're right, Dave. This belonged in the middle. It didn't belong at the freaking end.
Definitely, yeah. So, but maybe I don't know how much that's going to factor into how we analyze this episode. But let's jump in, right?
Oh, wait, just before we start, one last question.
Sure.
With how modern television is today, and everyone claiming they want 26 episode seasons, right? What would be the reaction if, like today, right? We have a show, and the last episode of the show is a clip show like this, right? People would scream bloody murder.
We scream bloody murder when there's 10 episodes and one's shitty. So
if they had done like the finale of Star Trek Enterprise as a clip show instead of them trying to be on the holodeck with Riker and Troy during the events of the Pegasus, that would have been preferable.
You say that in retrospect, Dave. You say that
in retrospect.
You want the perfect number count for a show. It's 13 episodes. You've got 10 episodes to get your whole story arc or whatever knickknacks story points you want to go over. You get those 10 episodes, and then you get the last 3 to have a really deep, long-arching 3-part story arc to end the season on.
Yeah.
And one of those episodes is a musical.
Yeah.
One of those episodes which Jody will not be happy about. He's like, why are they wasting one of the only episodes of the season on a musical or on some
I am
gimmick?
waiting for the Romulan rap.
It's coming. Okay, now we're jumping into the plot. Let's just jump through this. So the Enterprise is at some mysterious planet. Do we get the name of the planet? It's a geological survey on Serata 4. An unknown planet. They're doing we see Geordi LaForge emerges from the jungle here, looking. I guess Riker has called him over, who's looking quite despondent here. He's kind of hanging on the side of a riverbed here.
Like sad Ben Affleck.
He's sad Ben Affleck. He just needs a cigarette.
It's like, hey, I just got stuck by something. No one come close to me, or be careful.
There should be some procedures, I agree, that Starfleet observes in this situation.
Or, they should have more protective clothing than a layer of, like, spandex.
Yeah, some boots might help.
Why is Geordi looking at it with his, why does he have to open up the wound with his hands? Shouldn't his visor be good enough? Because he claimed like episodes ago that he can tell people's emotions if they're lying, and I think he should be able to see through a sub layer of clothing. Just saying.
Sure. All valid critiques there, Jaemeel. And Riker, he looks so annoyed by this whole thing. He's like mad at himself. I got stung by a stupid tree or something. They don't even know it's a tree yet. They think it's an animal or something. So Geordi calls up to the ship, and Riker says, "Is that really necessary?" "Oh yeah, Riker. We gotta be careful here." So they want to beam him up, but Chief O'Brien, the only guest star, Cole Meany, the only guest star in this episode. Technically, I guess Pulaski also a guest star. Diana Muldaur, but he's saying he can't filter out the whatever is inside Riker now, whatever illness or they say it's not a virus, not a bacteria, like something
like a microbe.
Like a microbe. They can't filter that out. So that's weird. They say. And
did they try the jelly? Where's the Enterprise jelly?
They don't have any jelly.
Decon gel, baby.
The decon gel. Yeah, that would have been retired. So then Pulaski comes to the transporter room to look at the how the biofilter thing, and he's saying, "Should I override the medical override?" She goes, "No, I better go down there first." So she's going down there potentially, and then there's this whole thing here with her and O'Brien about she doesn't like transporters, much like the character she's based on, O'Brien.
I hope these are the right coordinates. Just kidding, Doctor. I know how much you love the transporter.
About as much as I love comical transporter chiefs.
Ba-dum-bum.
Bum bum. Whatever that's worth to you. Of course, we're establishing a great rapport here between Pulaski and O'Brien that is going to
Pay off.
carry on for seasons to come. So get ready, everybody. As she beams down to the planet, right next to those vines that could sting her too, just for the record.
Well, she has a cold heart, so that's why they didn't.
Yeah, it's not looking for her. She does an examination here. The tricorder decides she's willing to beam him up now and override the biofilter warnings, and they get him up to the ship. Then he says, as he's on the bio bed, "My whole leg just went numb," and I think that is the hold on.
This is the strangest feeling. My whole leg just went dead.
And what now? Dun, 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 dun.
Was
Okay,
amputation never an option?
They never talk about it.
This is a great start. Like right now, this is shades of original series. Remember how many times they got sick? Somebody's getting sick. So
Right.
this is good.
Yeah,
This is a great
the
start.
teaser's fine, I think. It's like I said, it's not really until he gets he goes unconscious and they stick those things in his head that it kind of, for me, gets a little tedious.
I agree.
let's get
I
through
totally agree with you. Yeah.
Okay, so Shades of Grey. I believe we get a medical log from the doctor to start off the episode as she's talking about Commander Riker's infection. Riker comes down to see, or Picard comes down to see Riker, and they talk about these things happen. Sometimes you get stung with a weird thing on a planet. We don't like when it happens, but it's part of the being part of Starfleet, I guess. Weirdest part of the job.
We still can't get him a private room,
No, it's public.
So during this scene, though, did you guys think, why don't you just cut the leg off? You can put in like a prosthetic.
That's what Jaemeel wants to do. He wants to cut the leg off.
Right now.
yes,
Right now.
that's nice.
Well, because it's attached to his nervous system, so maybe that might not do it all, right?
They didn't even talk about it, Dave. And this is where the episode fails. There's not enough dialogue, I guess, that could
Yeah.
options.
If they had spent more time on dialogue and less on looking back on clips, I think that maybe they could have made a little bit more of it.
And that's where the meat and potatoes is, Adam. Absolutely, I was mentioning it before.
Yeah.
If there was like a struggle in terms of trying to figure out what this is, how to treat it, failing, and then finally coming upon a solution, like every original series, medical type of episode, we would have had a fine, low-budget episode that is a great character study for Pulaski, right? And we were robbed of it.
Yeah, we see. Yeah, that's true. Valid. I think that, so we see here Riker is got this, I don't know, in this medical scan, he's got like this little green infection that's attached, and it's embedded in his nervous system. That's why they can't be, like the transporter can't filter it out. So if the transporter can't filter it out, I don't know if amputation is going to work either. But
I just thought of Walking Dead. Get rid of the infection before it spreads.
They also mentioned this is on his sciatic nerve, and as somebody who suffers from sciatica, that can be not fun.
Sciatica. Sorry.
Anyway, so they tell Riker to, they're working on it, but is this where they say he could die? Like he could die if this infection goes to his brain. So Picard decides he's going to send down Data and Geordi specifically to go investigate the planet. And as Geordi and Data arrive at the transporter room, Data doesn't want Geordi to go, kind of contradicting Captain Picard's direct orders. But I say that Data has much less of a chance of being infected or hurt on the planet. And Geordi makes the counter argument, well, how do we know that these things don't like androids better than humans? And he's like, well, that's kind of dumb. That's probably not the case. Sure, that's theoretically, anything's possible, but that's probably not the case.
And then Data goes, at least wear some boots that has a thick layer of protection to make sure you don't get stabbed in the leg.
Yeah, like I think like that would some boots, like even just something to wear in the swamp, just standard issue Starfleet. But they weren't doing that at this time. Anyway, so they decide they're both going to go down here. So O'Brien sends them to the jungle, and they're checking it out. They say that there's no animals within 50 kilometers, only fossil records, and so Geordi calls it a graveyard, which Data says, well, I can't confirm that, but that seems to be what's going on here. They then figure out that this branch here. I think Geordi spots it maybe with he can see thermal variations in his visor, and it doesn't react to Data, right? So Geordi's like, I think let me bait it a little bit, right? And it goes for Geordi, goes to sting Geordi, but thanks to Data's cat-like reflexes, he can stop it. So,
rely on those android-like reflexes of yours.
Yeah, and he grabs it, and there you go. So. They do a little bit of a procedure here. They find one of these little stingers on the branch, as it is, and they do a little surgery here with a phaser and remove it. And it starts. It actually starts moving. It feels like it's more of an animal than it is a plant.
Yeah. Why didn't they cut off like the entire branch and take the branch back as opposed to just that small piece?
I don't know. I think you should be like a weight team supervisor from now on
to show the surgical precision of a phaser.
Yes, exactly. Geordi's using it along here, and then he puts the thing into the thing. O'Brien and Picard waiting up in the transporter room as Geordi and Data return, and Picard says, "Geordi, take that to sickbay right away." And then Picard gets a debriefing here from Data, who says, everything, all those animals in that area were dead. So my hypothesis is that Riker's going to die unless we figure something out. But my hypothesis could be wrong. And Picard goes, but they're usually not wrong. So am I going to have to find a new first officer? We'll see. Maybe it will be you, Data. So we transition to sickbay.
I thought it was funny as well that there was no container. He just brought it back with a pair of tweezers.
About pair of tweezers.
No budget for the container.
Yeah. That he took out of his tricorder, or where did the tweezers come from?
In his pocket.
His pocket. He has pockets? Okay. Anyway, so it's Pulaski and Picard here in sickbay looking at the medical analysis of the specimen they brought back. Picard looking over Pulaski's shoulder more directly here as they're kind of analyzing the thing here. And he says, well, is this where he says, what can I do? Get out of her hair?
Yeah.
We see here that, Riker's nervous system back in sickbay is being affected. So Picard comes to see him, and they have another conversation about death, and but Riker's trying to stay positive here and keep a good disposition. I think maybe it's even more so for the captain. And so he'll have this conversation with Troy in a little bit where he says, I got to set an example. Die with dignity. That's how a first officer goes out. He doesn't go, you got to save me. Please save me. Picard comes back to Pulaski. He's like, what can I do for you? She's like, go away.
You can get out of my hair.
You got it. And she goes back to work, which she seems like this is going to be a tough one. She'll write a great paper after, but this is not going to be an easy case. There's the transition, and then this nurse or orderly or whomever is doing a scan on Riker's system here. Riker tells the story about how the Rikers have a great, sense of, where is it?
Rikers are ornery, too. Matter of fact, my great-grandfather once got bit by a rattlesnake. After 3 days of intense pain, snake died.
Chuck Norris joke before Chuck Norris.
Yes. Then Troy comes in. This is, she talks about...
What if Riker's related to Chuck Norris?
Could be. He's great-grandpappy, perhaps. Riker gives a speech about facing death. Well, it's not really a speech, but a conversation with him and Troy.
As the first officer on this ship, I have to set an example. Now more than ever. Facing death is the ultimate test of character. I don't want to die, but if I have to, I'd like to do it with a little pride. Dying's bad enough, but to lose my sense of humor, forget it.
Forget it, he says. I'm not losing my sense of humor. And as he's having this conversation here with Troy, all of a sudden he the eyes roll back in his head and he passes out. The medical sensors go ding, ding, ding. And it's a cold blue here on the floor. Are we going to do a tracheotomy? No, I'm thinking of the pit. They got the hypo sprays, and they got to intervene here or he's going to be dead soon. If that infection spreads to his brain, game over. And Troy's like holding his hand up to her boobs. And it's she's heartbroken here. She's like family almost, really. Then there's a transition, and Riker got his clothes off. Yes, this episode.
I love it.
We're gonna stick Rikers with these. What is it? 6 needles or 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 needles into the head. They taking his shirt off too. So get ready for pokey into the Scully. How do you think they did this effect to like show these?
The needles are tracked into the machine.
Oh, fancy. So they put it in here.
You can see the layers there in that last image. Right next to the temple there's like a little layer.
Right, and it's like it's contracting in.
Yeah.
They didn't have the money. They didn't have special effects for this. They couldn't afford cooler looking needles. But it is quite a thing, yeah. They put him into his head. Oh no! Anyway. Troy really sells it with the looks. You know. I don't know, like it's an empath. Are we led to believe she's feeling what Riker's feeling?
His discomfort?
His discomfort? Can he feel those things going into his brain? And can she feel that as an empath? That's an unanswerable question.
Marina, we're going to need you to act for 2 on this shot.
Not just this shot, it's like all the shots, because now it's like Frakes is basically out of commission from this point on. He makes a few like grimaces and like grunts and things like that, but he's mostly just like stationary for the rest of this episode as they're working on, fixing him and trying to get into the brain. They start stimulating his brain, and this is the beginning of the clip show. Oh. And our first clip here, as they're trying to stay off the infection, stay off this funny thing he's been stung with. Let's get her. Yeah, go in. And the first clip is the episode. Is this Last Outpost with the Ferengi? So when they all beam down, but they beam down to different locations. Anybody?
Ricola.
We then transition back. Troy feeling.
They could have made all this clip stuff, like all these having to jump between clips. They could have bridged them some way by having him do some sort of self-conscious journey between all of them and find the connected dots to get out of whatever he's in. They could have done that.
Like he was traveling in his own mind, so they force it so it looks like he's walking in a particular direction, or...
Yeah, like they could just like film scenes in between. It's like, okay, cool, now... You're like, it's like they'll play the scene normally, and then there's like an additional scene where he gets distracted or he sees something that wasn't quite there before, and then he investigates, and all of a sudden he's in a new memory, and they play a whole different scene, and then, daisy chain it on until you get to your resolution.
So like using deleted scenes and such, and
or
outtakes, or just film that extra if you know you're gonna. Well, they didn't know while they're doing the season that they were gonna go over budget. They just happen to go over budget, so...
Yeah, but like if there was a bit more foresight into it, they could have, made the necessity of the flashbacks a little more pertinent than just,
Yeah, I also feel like there was a certain degree here of like, we just need to get one episode left done in the season. We don't care how bad it is, it seems, or how good it is. And I think we've all, we said it's kind of a mixed bag. I think they're kind of trying, but they're also maybe they're phoning it in and saying this is like, this is due at the end of the Friday before a long weekend, and it's not necessarily going to be priority. That's just fresh in mind for me. Anyway, back to the holodeck, the clip show, the memories, the dreams. Here's the scene from the Encounter at Farpoint pilot when Riker was on the holodeck meeting Data. They use a lot of this clip. Even him going across the stones, and like, you know, they could have kept this more condensed, concise. Yeah, the whistling with Data and all that. You know,
They
it's
did a better
Marvelous.
marvelous. How do you humans do that? A little bit of difference in Brent Spiner's makeup from that first season too. You kind of notice a little bit more.
So
Yeah,
young.
it was more shine, and his contacts were brighter.
Yeah, and he looks a little more human almost.
Yeah.
There's it's the lip coloring. They didn't. He's got too much pink in his lips as opposed to like when he does for the rest of the show.
Yeah. So
That's how you do a pilot, though. Pilot, you
That's how
test
you do a
things
pilot.
out.
And then we transition to the scene here with Riker and Guinan from the name of this episode.
It doesn't matter. This scene, you keep the whole thing. You don't cut the scene until the Shut Up Wesley.
Yeah, tell me about
Shut
my
Up, Kid.
eyes.
Yeah.
Shut up, kid. And yeah, this was the one. Oh, this was where Wesley was trying to get the date. Wasn't it the Dauphin?
Yes.
Yeah. And when we reviewed that episode, we're like, this is the best scene in the whole episode. This is the best part of the whole episode. This, you know, the Whoopi Goldberg and Jonathan Frakes, and Will Wheaton present as well. But yeah, like it was nice to like that's a nice moment to include in the episode if you're going to do a clip show. But yeah. Anyway, shut up, kid. This was the episode where Riker. I guess this is from the Icarus Factor, where Riker was going to leave the ship and become a captain, and Troy was so sad he was leaving, and you know she's heartbroken.
He's sad too.
Right. So as we come out of this, you know, Troy then describes, oh well, he's feeling feelings of like friendship and connection and all of those things, you know. But I think we find out soon that positive emotion, or no, it's after the erotic segment. We're gonna figure out positive emotion's bad. But right now they don't know that part. So they're like, let's stimulate it some more. Let's get him horny. Let's get some naked people in here, right? So we go. This is from Justice. The Edo. I feel like there was. Like when we watched this episode, I feel like there was a couple moments here that they probably cut out of the episode that got put in here. Like just, you know, more like half naked people just kind of massaging each other and going around scantily clad. Fellas too. You know,
What an episode.
Yeah.
what an episode.
Wouldn't you have liked it if they had like mundane, like clips of like him shaking people's hands or like rubbing Worf's back, and it's like this is the erotic section, and it's like, wait, what is this telling us about Riker? And those spices it up a little bit.
That would have been unexpected, but not unwelcome. Yes. And remember this outfit? This guy never quite owned it.
I bet you that guy remembers that outfit.
Oh, I'm sure he does. How could he forget?
What outfit did you
Real
take from
budgie
the
smugglers.
sets?
Yeah, it didn't really work for me. It's like a diaper with like
It's
straps.
reverse. It's like it's backwards.
Yeah.
It looks like it's backwards.
Yeah, where he was all flirty with Tasha Yar in that episode. This one with Worf, as she was. Then we go to the Minuet episode.
I cannot take Minuet.
What's wrong with Minuet?
Look at her. She's
a babe.
She's not a babe.
Hot or not, Chris, on Minuet?
She reminds me of like Catwoman from the Batman series of the 70s.
Like
Which one?
Like Julie Newmar?
Julie Newmar.
Yeah, definitely not Eartha Kitt.
She reminds me of like Ali Sheedy in Breakfast Club, but like heavier makeup and like 20 years older.
It's Elizabeth McCormick from Law and Order, everyone.
Dun dun.
So this episode bugged the crap out of me. Like, why Riker fell for this? Like, anyway, I hate that episode. I hate so
Perfection.
We've all tried a fleshlight once in our life, Adam.
Oh, I haven't. I know what they are.
So Murphy, that's what you know on Dave's birthday, you know.
Which is fine, Chris, except for the fact that Picard's with him during like half of it. And, like, it's just weird.
Hey, somebody's gonna sit in the cuck chair.
Somebody does. Anyway, we come out of this whole clip show segment, and Troy is feeling the horniness, the arousal here from Riker. He's very aroused, as I played at the top of the episode.
Commander Riker's emotions are rather passionate.
As in erotic?
Very much so.
Very much so.
We're back in here. He's dancing with Minuet, kissing Minuet, driving Adam crazy. Why is he falling for this woman when he could have this one on Angel One? The leader of this this matriarchal society, one of his other flings in the first 2 seasons. Will you still respect me in the morning? His best hits. They left out the 2 Klingon women where he's like one or both, but that could have made it the cut here. And then was her name Fiona? This character, the Irish one.
Yeah, I think so.
From Up the Long Ladder.
Another Jaemeel review classic. I love it.
It's just a virgin killer sweater.
Yeah.
See, I mentioned that. It's not exactly, but close.
Yeah.
Close, my friend.
She was probably the most attractive one of these for me, though. You start at the top and you work your way down. That's how she tells him to do it.
Do you not like girls, William?
Sure, I like girls. I like everybody. Let's get her in here. So, the crotchet goddess, crochet, crotchet. All right.
That's like the macrame goddess.
Macrame. Okay. Anyway, but turns out horniness is not good for this. This
very good for the microbe.
Yeah, it liked it. It doubled replication, and Troy's like, we made him horny, and we just made things worse. This is awful. We got to do something.
As is the case with William Riker.
Yeah.
It's growing in strength as he gets horny.
No. If only he knew. All right, we need to. So then they go, let's go negative emotion. So then we get the whole flashback to here when Tasha Yar died in The Skin of Evil. Get to relive that moment. Yeah, I actually got the screenshot. You can actually see here where Tasha Yar does die right here. She gets hit with this.
That's her soul leaving her body right there.
Yeah, right there. She got like hit by a truck, an invisible truck, basically, right into the torso, and she gets then sent flying onto the ground. Despite phasering.
Pew pew.
All that. Pew pew. Tasha is dead. Of course, we know this. We went through this last season, but we get to relive it here on the clip show just like then. So Beverly Crusher makes her appearance as well.
Yay.
She's
only
back.
appearance in season 2.
This is her only appearance in season 2. Yep. Precisely. And is it Tasha's only appearance in season 2 as well?
I think so.
I don't know if she's in another scene or not. Wesley and Worf aren't in the show either, except for clips.
Flashback.
Except for the flashbacks, yeah. We go to the first episode of season 2, the one where the child, dies. Ian Andrew Troy, and this was more emotional.
There's so many bad episodes featured here.
That's why we go through the process, Adam, to rate the episodes.
Yes.
Go through them. There's some of them are gonna be bad. This wasn't. I didn't hate this episode, but I'm not as critical as you.
No.
You think that the Enterprise finale is better than this?
Yes, I do.
I don't know. Anyway, so it's kind of working, but Pulaski says it's not doing enough. We gotta go harsher. We gotta go more negative. We gotta go more intense emotions and memories here if we're gonna save Riker. And so we gotta go deeper. So the episode where he was with the Klingon ship, this was called A Matter of Honor.
Good episode.
Good episode with he had to fight the Klingon second officer to prove his worth, and this guy all go and intimidate him. He bodies him. He does this suplex, gets him in. Everyone looking on, blocks the thing, throws him headfirst into the turnbuckle, and calls it a day. And then that we go to the episode Conspiracy, one of Adam's favorite episodes, and where he fought.
Dave, I don't mind the episode. I mind that they didn't do anything post the episode.
there's still time. They might be doing more eventually. Who knows? Anyway, so when Riker fought this crazy infected admiral, vitamins do the body good. You know,
Tanks him is great.
yeah, tags him, throws him across the room. Get to see the
that
stuntmen again.
That kick right there.
That kick, you know, because I don't have a lot of great shots of the stuntmen, but it's clearly stuntmen as they're kind of going around the room. And but yeah, I forgot they cut it here because when the admiral throws Riker through the coffee table, and like they cut it off there because of course Riker was unconscious. He wouldn't remember the rest of that fight where Worf and all them came in, right?
Yeah.
It's working a bit here, but they aren't saving the day. I don't know, Pulaski and Troy talking. More clip show.
It's like, why didn't they break out the sequence of him getting hit in the crotch?
They should have.
It's like over and over and over again.
Yeah. The episode with the drug addict planet, where Riker was getting all this seemed like less of an intense moment than him getting thrown across the room by the admiral.
But this is supposed to be like a moment of pure agonizing pain through telekinetic power. So
Yeah.
you know,
you think he's in
whole
agonizing
body-
pain? Is that what
Yeah, I
he's-
feel like this whole situation's like his nervous system's lit on fire because he's like, "Give me the drugs, or his brain will get it." You know, look,
You ever
that
close up
brain
a-
will get it.
Close up of his crotch and he's peeing himself.
That would have done more for it, yeah. Then we got that whole flashback when he was fighting the Ferengi in the last outpost, and they were shooting him with
Fighting.
energy whips. You know. Worf and Data get shot here, and then Riker he's stunned, and then they get at him here, boom, with the energy whip. They never really bring back the energy whip, but they were fun.
Yeah.
They do in Enterprise.
They do in Lower Decks too,
And Lower Decks, yeah.
Yeah. And then him getting sucked into the Armis thing. Data, somebody's got me. I don't know. No, don't touch me.
Where's his fast android reflexes then? He
Yeah,
could, he
exactly.
could easily, like, he's heavier than Riker. He could anchor him down.
Armis says no. So yeah, this is where Jonathan Frakes famously got submerged in printer toner.
Printer toner and Metamucil.
Right. And I heard the story when he comes up like here, you know, you'll see it here where his face comes up through the thing. And I remember LeVar Burton was like, "There's no way I would ever have done that." Like, like the fact that Frakes agreed to this is astounding. You know,
It's a great moment though.
It is. It looks amazing, but you know, it's probably not good for your health. You know,
No.
Spitting ink for the better part of 3 weeks after that.
So coming out of that, is that enough of negative emotion? Troy is beside herself. She's feeling all of this at once. And
You sure her emotions wouldn't be blocking it? Like it has previously, when she has strong emotions herself, she can't read other people's emotions, but it works here.
yeah, more. This is where like the clip show then speeds up, even more intense. You know, they're doing the self destruct in 1001, the episode with the Klingons. You know,
No.
Von
Our most
Armstrong.
action-packed scenes. Let's put them in 4-second clips. This'll do.
Yeah, so get them out of there. Get them out of there, Tasha. They beam out, but then the beam out doesn't work. And then they're about to get blown up, and they don't. And I was like, oh, yeah, did Riker get blown up here? No, he lives.
No. Well, all of this was a dream from after this blow-up sequence.
Yeah. That's a face you don't want to see in the morning. Ugh. It's not good enough. They got to get going. Go more intense here, Riker. And this, we got the conspiracy. We got this again. them
So they're
fighting.
they're just flipping through them now.
Yeah.
They're just going, they're just flipping through them at this. Even the part where Data's putting the chips all in, and I was like, why is this relevant to what's happening?
Okay, so there were a few of these scenes that just didn't make sense. It's like, Riker wasn't there. Why is he remembering this?
Yeah.
I think
I
he was
get
there.
this. He was there for this particular moment? When
Yeah, because wasn't the ship going to explode? He had to get it away from something.
Maybe he was in engineering and he was watching it, but
I have to
like,
look back at that. I have to
That
figure
was
it out.
no, that was the wasn't that the episode where everybody was infected?
Yeah, that was the Naked Now.
Naked Now, yeah.
Yeah. More of Riker fighting, more self-destruct. There was that time that guy got vaporized. Remember him?
Yeah.
And with that, loud as a chorus or loud as a whisper. Boom, boom, boom. More clips. That ship blowing up. This ship blowing up. All kinds of ships blowing up. More
That guy
phasers,
blowing
more
up.
explosions. This guy's head blowing up. And finally, the intensity finally is over. As Pulaski says, we've done it. We beat the infection. We had to speed up those clips. That's how you beat a virus or a bacteria, whatever the hell this was.
Microbe.
Yeah, only a clip show could cure this disease.
seizure of violence.
Yeah.
His eyes are open here.
Yeah, is he not waking up here?
Not yet.
He's not supposed to.
He's not supposed to be.
Close it. He's like, oh snap.
So
We're like,
whoops.
oh, we got to do another take. No, we're
There's
not.
no take. We don't have any money. No money, Jaemeel.
Yeah, we have no money. Frank's just like, can I get out of this contraption yet? No, you're staying there until 1 a.m. when we're done shooting this.
Oh my gosh.
The sequin blanket makes my skin itch.
I do like that blanket. I want that blanket. Anyway, but they've done it. There's a celebration here with Troy and Pulaski as they tell the captain he's been saved. They pull the needles out of his head, and he wakes up on purpose this time, and he looks over. You won't believe the dream I was having.
So,
Yeah.
should Riker have had an erection during the erotic sequence?
If we go for realism, yes.
Or during the danger, he has a bigger erection?
Look, from beginning to end, all of his memories were just explosions.
Yes, they were. You wouldn't believe the dream we were having.
You wouldn't believe the dreams I was having.
Yes, we would. Ha ha. And he wants to get up. He feels fine, but Pulaski wants to do more tests. And then Data and Picard show up. They go, well, we got to make sure your brain was probably pretty little scrambled there. Let's do some baselines. He goes, do you know who you are? He goes, I'm Captain Picard of the U.S.S. Enterprise. Oh, well, me and the Admiral here, we're so worried about you. And Data then goes, you can't promote me to Admiral Captain. Plus, he's not Captain Picard. He's Riker.
Yeah.
You know, ha, 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 ha. That's the end joke. That's how we end a season, guys.
Once again, I got some good ones this season.
Yeah, Jody says the best thing about this episode is no new Worf scenes.
Yep.
Sam is saying 0. Okay.
Sam, I'm not giving it a 0.
All right. Well, Adam, give us some facts. Give us some trivia.
Okay, all right. So you're asking about Pulaski earlier. So Pulaski was the ship's primary doctor and appeared in all but 2 episodes. The fans did not take to her, and some compared her to a crotchety McCoy in a female body, which I don't think was a bad thing. A few fans even wondered if this new character was supposed to be McCoy to the new Mr. Spock, Data. Even those fans who liked Pulaski said she came across patronizing and looking down at Data. Well, she did, or Data, as she called him.
Data.
Right. So if they hadn't done all that stuff, okay, with Pulaski, like that whole data and not using his name, and if they hadn't done that in like the beginning of the season, do you think that Pulaski would be more well liked by the fans?
No, I think people they liked and got used to Dr. Crusher, and then you had something totally different, especially with the establishing of, like, there was not many interpersonal relationships, even the ones that were built with Worf that were great scenes. There was no follow-up. There was no connective tissue throughout the season. So you would either have people feeling indifferent or not liking. That's typically what you get.
And they had the opportunity because she was on so many episodes, right? Mulder knew this. She told the Los Angeles Times in 1988 her role was to aggravate on the show. They were using me to aggravate Captain Picard and from time to time upset our dear Data a great deal. I don't deal with him as a human, but as a machine, and this upsets the rest of the crew. I'm kind of a pain in the neck, she said.
Okay, like, who's in more episodes, Tasha Yar or Pulaski?
Probably Pulaski.
Yeah, because Norman was just pointing out that Pulaski, because it was in the episode that was actually last filmed with Denise Crosby, you see her waving in the cargo bay. It's so unceremonious for her departure. And you can say, okay, I don't like the way Pulaski treated Data, but I don't think that's Diana Muldaur's fault. Like,
no, it was written. I mean, she just said it. She was told to aggravate.
Right.
So she goes on thinking that it was never going to be a long-term gig. I was just starting, but I never planned to be there very long. As it turns out, I used the show where I aged to show LA Law people to look at that, so they would hire her on LA Law after.
And she was on LA Law after, right? Is she the one who died in the elevator shaft on LA Law?
I never watched LA Law.
Oh. Because there's like a scene in LA Law where like one of the women lawyers, she's like talking to somebody and she walks into an elevator, but the elevator is like not there, and she like falls down the shaft and dies. Anyway.
Dave, we refer to them as lawyers, not women lawyers. Just
okay. Well,
so you asked about whether she knew she was not coming back. At the end of season 2, there was a letter writing campaign supported by Patrick Stewart, and a personal invitation from Rick Berman for McFadden to return to the show.
Wow. I wonder if she was asked to sign it. The letter writing campaign.
That's kind of funny, though. There was a lot of letter writing campaigns that sort of either saved the show or brought people back through the years.
But Norman, what was Diana Muldaur the one who died on LA Law in the elevator shaft? Like, am I remembering that right? Yeah. No, he's saying Rosalind Shays down the shaft. No.
Okay.
Nothing beats Paul McCrane's departure from ER. Or did he die? He didn't die. Elevator accident. Helicopter accident. That was great.
Keep going down.
Go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
At the 50th anniversary Star Trek convention in Las Vegas in 2016, fans voted this the 5th worst episode of the Star Trek franchise.
Does it list the other?
It doesn't list the other ones.
Code of Honor, Sub Rosa. No,
all Star Trek.
All Star Trek.
Well,
yeah, not just TNG, but I can think of some bad ones. Like, what's that one you guys like with the Gary Seven?
Simon Earth.
That's worse.
Really? Okay.
That was a finale, wasn't it?
It was. It was the season finale too.
Okay.
This is the final regular appearance of the main cast in the season 1 spandex uniforms. Beginning in the following season, the main cast began wearing more comfortable wool versions of the uniform. Through season 1, uniforms would continue to appear on background extras in time travel or flashback episodes. So they continue.
I was right. Pulaski did die in LA Law in the elevator shaft, or the turbo lift shaft, if you will. Thank you, Norman.
Riker's joke about the dying snake is a nod to the story about the famously ornery director John Ford. When Ford was directing John Wade in the epic The Searchers in 1956, he was stung by a scorpion. The producer was afraid that if Ford died, the production would be shut down and the studio would lose a great deal of money. He asked Wayne if Ford was going to die. Wayne said he would check on him, and when he returned, he said Ford was just fine. It was the scorpion who died. So there you go.
There you go, John Ford.
Merritt Buttrick, whose appearance to John in the archive footage from Symbiosis, he was the guy that drug.
Yeah, hold it like the. Yeah.
He actually died of AIDS in March 1989, 4 months before this episode was there, at the age of 29. He was the first Star Trek Next Gen guest to die.
Yeah, he had also played Kirk's son in Wrath of Khan and.
Oh, was that him?
Yeah.
David? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, David Marcus.
Oh,
yeah.
I just learned something.
Rest in peace.
And I'll leave it here. This is the last episode to have the Gulf and Western byline on the Paramount logo before it was rebranded as Paramount Communications.
Okay. So fun. All right, let's get into the ratings, everybody.
David, remember we used to do the original series, and sometimes we just wouldn't get through the full hour of an episode.
No,
there was nothing to talk about.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. I don't know. Okay, well, I'll go first here for we rate. Jody has already given us his rating at 0. I don't. I'm going a little higher than that tonight.
Sam and Jody are both zeros.
I don't like the episode, but there's a couple moments I enjoyed, so I'm gonna go 4. Jaemeel?
I'm giving it a 3. It's a 3 in terms of a lot of concepts, and I already talked about it already before. It isn't a 0 worthy. There are some nuggets of performances there and the idea that's interesting, but unfortunately, it gets kind of sidetracked with the clips. Go ahead,
Adam?
I liked the setup, the teaser at the beginning. I really did like that scene with the vine and how they found that the spike or whatever. But then it went really bad. So I'll give this a 4 as well.
Okay, and Worldmind.
I'm giving it 2 points to start with the whole episode, and then an extra point for the Guinan and Riker scene. So 3.
Okay. All right. Well, with our scores combined, including Jody's, we are averaging 2.8. This has famously a 3.3 rating on IMDb, the lowest of any Next Gen episode. Even sorry, what's Code of Honor rated at? Oh, Code of Honor is at 5.1. It's much higher rated than this on IMDb. So
because it was an original episode, it was actually had some storytelling.
Yeah, it wasn't a good story, but it was there. Anyway, so we've wrapped up season 2, everybody, and we are averaging a 6.9 compared to 6.0 in season 1. So technically, season 2 was an improvement.
moving on up
For most of us, and this is we finished up season 2. We are going to be covering Star Trek: Strange New Worlds on this channel for the next 10 weeks or so. Until that season 3 wraps up. So we're going to be going on hiatus, but when we come back, we're going to be covering the season 3 premiere, Evolution. As you can see, we got the new uniforms, we got Gates McFadden back, and Pulaski will be gone by the time we get to that one.
We got the doctor from Scrubs.
We got the doctor from Scrubs. He's there, playing another doctor, actually. One of those outpost scientists that are always up to no good, if I recall. I forgot that's the first episode of season 3 too. It's kind of an interesting one. Anyway, so that's it for TNG season 2. If you didn't know, here on Live Long and Podcast, we're always doing different Star Trek podcasts. We recently had a trivia event, behind the scenes edition with myself, Davin, and Sean Farrick from Trek Culture competing, hosted by our quiz Admiral Ashley. Go back and listen to that if you haven't already. We're also covering the show For All Mankind right now here on the channel. We are into season 2, going episode by episode. This Monday, we will be talking about season 2, episode 4, titled Pathfinder. If you haven't watched For All Mankind, it's a great show created by a lot of Star Trek writers and alumni. And go check that out, and check out our podcast as well.
Just curious, Dave. What are you gonna follow up once you're done that show?
Well, we've talked about Adam's advocated for Battlestar. I would love to get people on to Babylon 5, but I feel like this could be a tough one.
Murphy, do you have a suggestion?
I mean, I echo Adam's statements with Battlestar Galactica. I've never really watched Babylon 5 much beyond watching it with my parents back in the day.
Well, if I'm going to give a suggestion, I won't do it on my behalf. I'll do it on Davin's behalf and suggest Farscape.
I do Farscape.
Farscape's a good one. Yeah.
How many episodes?
There's 5 seasons of Farscape.
Plus the movies?
Yeah.
Is each season 26 episodes?
20-ish, maybe.
So maybe 100 episodes overall?
Let me see. Let me look this up.
That's not my suggestion. I know Davin will want to talk about
it. I would be my suggestion as well. I mean,
I don't know really anything about it, but
it's great. Yeah, 22 episodes, 4 seasons, and then a miniseries with 2 episodes. So that's the movie. So basically 22 episodes, 4 seasons. So I mean, that's at least a good 2.5 years of content.
How many episodes? Sorry?
22 episodes of seasons.
So it's almost like it would take us 2.5 years to do that.
So we can't not do Battlestar for 2 more or how many more years? Because how many Next Gen is going to take us? How many years?
We have another 2 probably after this.
Good
2.5. right? It's 7 seasons. 7 seasons of
I mean,
commitment, you know. So
You can do next gen and this like you're doing with the man.
Yeah.
you could, yeah.
It's
Like
like,
eventually,
Adam, I don't think Starfleet Academy is going to be that many episodes to prevent us from,
Doing
cracking.
both.
No, but
Yeah.
I like personally, I would prefer to do Battlestar before Farscape, just because I love Battlestar.
Yeah,
you know,
Battlestar is probably much better than Farscape, but
you know,
Farscape's
I don't know what I'm
good in its
missing, but
uniqueness.
I would also like to do Battlestar. I just wanted to throw that out there for Davin. So
the other show I've thought about doing, the other series created by Gene Roddenberry, Earth Final Conflict.
yes, yeah, okay, I would be down for that. Dion, right?
I've heard good things about The Expanse. I don't know.
Yeah.
man.
I'll never get
It's
into
just a
it.
slow start.
I could
Can't
like
get
my
through
brother Rich, my other brother. He always goes on about The Expanse. I'm like, I can't get past the first season. Like, you know, it tends.
It's
to,
like Parks and Rec. You just got to push through.
I guess so.
Battlestar had 74 episodes.
So we can get through that a lot quicker. That was kind of like when we did the Orville, right?
Wait,
we
If
were
we
able to
do
get through that.
Battlestar, are we going to do Caprica too?
You got to do Caprica. You got to do
Yeah.
Blood and Chrome. You got to do them all.
Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't really watch Caprica, so that would be interesting. Okay, well,
Jody,
that's
Sliders. Sliders was good for like the first.
Sliders is
Oh,
great.
come on.
only in the beginning, and then
Only
it
in the
goes really
beginning.
bad.
I watched
But
at
if
the
we do
very end.
Sliders, then you got to do Quantum Leap.
Right. The Quantum Leap would be fun too, you know. But so there's a lot of different shows that, like, you know, the more they're connected to Star Trek or feeling Star Trek adjacent, the better, I think. But
Well, Jerry O'Connell is a Star Trek alumni.
he is. He was on Sliders before he was on Lower Decks and all that.
Well,
True.
Ronald D. Moore, Battlestar.
Ronald
Yeah,
D. Moore, yeah.
Ronald D. Moore,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, great discussion, everybody. We're gonna wrap it up here tonight, and I guess we won't be on next week because it's not till July 17th that Strange New Worlds season 3 is starting up. Actually, I'm going to be in Nova Scotia that night, so Davin's gonna host the premiere for this season. So, so
Is Jody's gonna show up?
maybe, yeah, maybe it'll be Davin and Jody.
I mean, I'll probably be there.
I'm definitely there.
Look out for that and soon. And thanks to the whole panel. Make sure to check out all the great stuff in the United Federation of Podcasts. And until next time, of course I know who I am. Don't you?
Of course I know who I am. I'm Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the U.S.S. Enterprise.
I'm delighted that you're feeling better, Captain. The Admiral and I were worried about you.
Captain, I do not believe you have the authority to promote me to the rank of Admiral.
See you next time, everyone. Good night.